All right. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Marin, for that introduction. So I did prepare a little bit of introduction about myself, so you can get to know me as well. Marin has told me that hopefully through this focus group study that you get to have in your hand the power that you need to become successful in your career. So that's my job here. But let me tell you a little bit about myself, okay? You probably have never heard of a country called Kiribati. Have you? You have? Well, I am impressed. Well, as you can see, it's just a tiny island country in the South Pacific, and that's where I'm from. I was born in that tiny little country. And in that country, you probably, back when I was living there, you don't get to see a computer. So coming to United States is not only a cultural shock, it's also a technology shock for me, okay? So, but then I had the opportunity to move to Hong Kong and move around a bit. I get to live in Africa. And eventually, I came to the United States. I got my college degree in computer science in Brigham Young University, Hawaii. And there, I get to establish my family. So I started my family. I have a family of 4 children. And I'm proud to say that all my kids have touched a computer. Actually, one of them is a programmer. I don't know if you can tell which one it is. They all look like geeks there, but yep, one of them is quite a programmer. So he likes to program games, because that's what he likes to do all day long, play games. And so at this age, he probably can still do that. But so I came to Utah for my master's degree in management information systems, and I would never regret that. It has brought me to a position where I can I get to be here with you and teach classes, but at the same time, I also had the opportunity to work with so many tech companies out there. And I am very fortunate to have great professors here while I was going to the MIS program. They still do. And I will tell you a little bit more about that. So, like Marin said, technology has, changed so quickly, and if you look at it, every person in this room should have some interaction with an application, computer application, or some sort of even more high-tech application that they have to learn in their workforce eventually. And so it is almost a must-have for even non-tech positions to know some type of technology skills, right? But the problem here then is, if you think about it, there's so many things to look at. There's so many technology out there that is needed in a workforce. Some of the basic ones, I kind of want to go over this and you can tell me, okay? For communication, there's Gmail, Outlook, at a minimum. What are some of the other communication tools that you have used that you can probably bring to the table today? Can you think of any? Okay, we'll come to social media.
Google Hangouts.
Google Hangout. What's good about Google Hangout?
It's quick.
It's quick. So it allows you to have communication, almost use it as a chat room, a phone. It's gone to that stage where email is not the only way of communicating, right? How about Google Drive? Have you heard of that? Microsoft 360, okay? Any other collaboration tools that you've used before? Yes?
Slack.
Okay, Slack. Tell us about Slack.
It's like a mix of Drive and Skype chat where you can chat and share files and just collaborate back and forth.
And so one cool thing about these collaboration tools, they are up to the point where you can actually see each other's editing, what you do, right? Google Drive definitely has that ability. If you use Google Sheet, Google Docs, and all those things, you can instantaneously collaborate with the team members that you work with, right? Photoshop, Illustrator, any other tools that you've heard of in terms of graphic design? How much of this is useful to you, do you think? Is it useful? I think so. Yes, you were going to say something?
Lucid Press, I don't know if you've heard of that. But
Okay.
it's an online option to make templates and flyers and websites.
Oh, okay. So it allows you to deploy a website fairly quickly, right? Kind of like Weebly and things like that, is it? Okay. So I think this skill set, even with graphic design, you would think that is something very technical. It should be a graphic designer's job. But my 12-year-old is already being taught graphic design at his age in his school. They have a graphic design class where they take Illustrator, Photoshop classes throughout the semester. So it's just a part of our life. There's so much ingrained into our life that we, yes, Maren?
So interestingly enough, Adobe Suites
Uh-huh.
is something I rarely see on resumes. Even if you're an accounting major and you have the Adobe Suites, if I'm an employer and I have 10 accounting students who've applied, but I have one who could do my brochures, that gives you an edge.
Mm-hmm. There's so much to graphic design that even if we learn the basic, it does make a difference in our workforce. The color scheme and things like that. What are the fonts that are commonly used, right? That helps with marketing. You'll be surprised that the pretty cursive font is probably not going to get your marketing anywhere. And you probably don't know that until you actually take a class and learn about it, right? But there is actually theories and knowledge behind this, skill set that can help you, right? So there's many, many more we can talk about. There's data input analysis, but project development, things like that we can probably explore. But trust me, even this last one right here, where it says basic prototyping skills, which is, like you said, coming up with a website, things like that, it's almost a skill set that is required nowadays. There are tools out there that makes it a little bit easier, so you don't have to go hard on coding and things like that. But at a minimum, nowadays, these are skill sets that are almost expected of a non-tech person. But how many of you can identify the icons that are here? If you can identify half of it, raise your hand. Look at it, there's 21 of them, about 21 of them. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to know what all these icons mean, okay? But these are things that are out there in the world, right? And it almost looks like this, okay? You come into the workforce, and then all these new things start come to birth, right? In the technology world. And are these the only ones? Every day there are new technologies that come into our life. So for you as so-called non-tech, I would say everyone becomes a technology savvy person anyways. You have a phone, but if we're to distinguish a developer and call that a tech person and then a non-tech person, so what do you do when someone comes to you and say, I have a project for you. Do you look like this duck right here when the chicken is talking to you? You just kind of freeze there and, what was that about again? And then you go out and you need to tell your team or whatever, whoever you're working with, whatever that has been said to you. So you get a bunch of this code and then you're giving them numbers in the end. How many of you have lived in a world where you have to commute quite a bit using different transportation, like buses, transporting for months? So have you ever gone lost, like got on the wrong bus or something like that? How do you feel when that happens?
Terrified, scared, crying.
Okay, I can probably assume the age that you were doing that.
A few months ago.
Okay. Well, you, as an adult, probably, yes. You can feel terrified and you can probably be crying too sometimes. But you would probably wonder why you got on the wrong bus, how much time you've wasted, and those people that are waiting for you probably on the other end of the bus station that you're supposed to, the destination you're supposed to go to. And so that's sometimes what happened in the tech world. It happens actually almost all the time. Okay, you would think that it doesn't happen because you got a job and you're supposed to be very competent about it. Even CIO make that mistakes where they travel down a road and they had to roll back and say, wait a minute, I think I'm heading in the wrong direction, right? So you have the ability to give yourself an edge. And there are tools out there. Is there a time over here? I cannot see a clock. Where's that? Okay. Okay, I just don't want to go over time. Sorry. But anyways, so my job here today, I want to show you a few places that you can actually help you understand some of this terminology. What I'm throwing up here are some basic tech terminologies that you probably hear every now and then. You probably have heard of it. But you also need to know that you have been given great power. You have. With great power comes great responsibility, right? And I think that's why when you walk into a job interview, even if it's non-tech position, it's almost expected that you should have some tech skills because you have been given that power. You probably just don't know it's hidden within. And there are resources out there. Okay, I once went into a talk a long time ago when Google is becoming so big that they call Google the Google University. Okay. But since then, it has evolved. It's not just the Google University. You have resources out there that can help you when someone come talk to you about something. You don't have to have the chicken and duck talk, right? You can understand, oh, this is about how I manage my project, right? They're talking about how I can build a website, tools that I can build a website. Oh, they're talking about mobile development here. They're talking about the cloud, servers, places that I can put my applications. They are talking about data here, data analytics, the tools that are available there, right? So I know what is essential for myself to become successful and for the company that I work with, the people that I work with, right? So here are a few things that I want to show you. You have options, and these are your powers. Okay, let's look at one. How many of you have heard of Khan Academy? Great. So you know you have power there. My kids go there every day, right? But in Khan Academy, there are different subjects of things that you can look at. Just going to put up the website. Okay. Look how many topics are available now. When I look at this, sometimes I wonder, what's the point of sending my kids to school? They have everything, even up to high school, right? So my kids stay ahead already in their subjects. I have a seventh grader, a fifth grader, a first grader, but they're always ahead of their grade. Because they're given that power. They need to be able to use it, right? And you have that ability too. Let's look at another one. Have you heard of Tutorials Point? How many of you have heard of that? No? You have? It's a pretty cool site. So if you want to get really technical, this is one of my favorite. And it's one of the first that I would point out to you. Okay? These are the subjects that are available, right? But there's more to it. If you know specifically what you're looking for, but if you click on that view all, look at that long list that is there. Every single one of these things are things that you can dive into to become more technical, right? Let's see. Microsoft. Microsoft always says you have to pay for this and that and this and that and this and that. When you're a student, you have a lot of free tools you probably don't know. Do you know that on USU, there are so many software that are available to you at a very, very low cost? To faculty, it's even free, right? Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, a lot of the Adobe products, the whole Adobe Cloud products is available to you at a very low price or even free. Yes?
They're actually free for students. Yeah.
For students? Okay, because see, I don't see the same access when it comes to students. You also have apps.usu.edu, right, while you go to school here. Now I don't have access to that. When I go to that page, it's a blank page for me. But for students, apparently, you have access to all this Microsoft Office and everything that are available on there. You can even download certain software onto your computer for use to play with, okay? And so this is just one website that help you learn a little bit about Microsoft technology, maybe. There's Pluralsight. There's the Virtual Academy. Lots of video tutorials that you can look at and things like that. Okay? And let's see. Do you know MIT offers courses? They record their courses and then they give it to you for free. It's called OpenCourseWare. So you see the assignments and tests that the professor gives to their students. And even the solution key sometimes, they provide it to you. And there's so many subjects on it that you can see, ranging from computer to business and chemistry, physics, whatever you name it. There's so many courses, but these are all open to you for free. That's why when you go to MIT, I told my kids, when you go to MIT, it's almost like an expected that you know some of these things already. My oldest always says, okay, this is the school I want to go to. Okay, you better be able to earn a scholarship because I don't think I can afford to pay for you to go there. He has a lot of dreams. He wants to be in Olympics. He wants to be a developer by the age of 15, like work for a company when he actually can work. So, but I told him, these are things that I have to show him, right? You have the power. You can do that. I have seen it in a 12-year-old. I know you can do it. He's a stubborn little kid, by the way. There are times that I have to tell him, hey, that is not the right way to do it, but he has his own way, so whatever. He has to learn from his lessons. But there are so many resources. Isn't that cool? Codecademy. These are some of the things that you can find. YouTube for video tutorial. Let me show you something real quick on YouTube. You probably know how to do this. Okay? How many of you have heard of JavaScript? I hope so. Okay? So if you're on YouTube, I'm searching for JavaScript tutorial, right? Because I'm a beginner and I look under the search box here. Do you see this filter here? When you click playlist, it actually pulls up groups of videos in regards to your search. So I have here a list of all the JavaScript tutorial playlist, lesson by lesson from the beginning to the end. So there are so many things you can find on YouTube, right? And it's not just tech. It could be anything you're looking for. Maybe soft skill that you wanna learn about. But this is one way that I would teach my kid to go search for a specific topic. He would come back to me and say, Dad, I learned something about SQL today. I don't quite understand. And so I said, okay, this is where you want to go to. There's a good reason for that I just pointed him to that. Like I said, if I tell him anything, he would just try to do the opposite of it. I don't know why, but hopefully you're not going to do the opposite of what I'm telling you today, okay? Okay. So, but anyway, it's good to have some pointers, isn't it, to know where you need to go, right? Otherwise, it would be like walking down the street of Italy, this beautiful setting here, but you have a million choices of restaurants that you want to go to, and you can possibly go to, and you just don't know which one you want to go to. You don't know exactly what is the best for you. But there are ways to guide you, okay? One thing about universities or places where you go have higher education that is different from online education that you can get, like all those sites that I give you, is the ability for people to analyze what is best for you, right? So here at the MIS department, one of the things that I really appreciate when I came to school is I see professors understand the world, okay? Understand the need out there. The need back when I graduated and the need now is different already. But yet, every day, new apps come to birth. What are you going to do? Which restaurant should I go to? You know, which one tastes the best? You don't want to end up picking something you don't want. So there is a website here I showed you that says W3 schools, right? If you don't have someone to show you, by accident, you could be going to W3 school, not schools.com, get on the wrong bus, and at the end, you're going to look like this guy, wondering what is going on. What's wrong with your life, right? You don't want to end up like that. So I am very glad that I get this opportunity. Thank you, Marin, for giving me this opportunity. This is always an exciting topic for me. At home, everywhere I go, so I can empower the people that I get to work with and tell them about these things. Hopefully you find what I get to share with you useful today, and you can take it into your life. Now don't freak out. All those resources I gave you are not to freak you out, just to help you know that you have the power, and you do. You now do. The last part here, I just want to see, do you have any questions? Yes?
If you had to choose 2 or 3 of those programs to start with, what would they be for a business student?
By programs, are you talking about programming languages or
Not necessarily languages.
or soft?
Like SQL or database or any of that stuff.
Yeah, very good question. So I have walked into so many businesses before, and there's not a single time that I don't see Excel spreadsheet pulled up. Okay? But Excel spreadsheet is more than just a spreadsheet. There's so much to it that you can learn out of it. SQL definitely is one that I would recommend. It depends on what job you are looking into doing. Do you have a specific one in mind that you? Okay.
Just a general business student, I guess.
General business student.
Would you recommend Photoshop over Illustrator?
Then I would recommend, in that sense, perhaps looking into more data analysis, so data analytics. Because as a business student, that would give you the edge. Because you, in the world of business, you hope to go up the ladder, don't you? Right? We all do. And right now, we live in an information world where, with so much data, if you know how to control data and take that to your advantage, you will have the edge above others. I had a friend that actually got an interview with one of the big finance company. And he came to me and he asked me, he asked the same question, what should I kind of learn? And I said, which job position? We kind of looked into that. And I told him, why don't you look into something called R programming? And he did that. So as soon as he went into the job interview, he came out, the first thing he said, you know what? The job interview is not about soft skill or anything. The person interviewing me cannot stop talking to me about R. After he found out that I know about R, that's all he can blab about. And I was hired on the spot. So, but R is one of those things that, yeah, you can look into those. So it helps you with data analytics, right? So it depends on the workforce that you want to get into. Did I see another hand? No? Okay. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for giving me this time. It is such a privilege.
Hi everyone, I am super excited to chat with you today. My name is Lokana Reed. I am the lead executive recruiter for Target. I recruit for our summer internship program and executive team leaders, but for me specifically, I focus on campus students and bringing them into our organization. So I'm actually going to call our team up here to introduce themselves. I'm putting them on the spot. You could probably tell by their eyes, like, what? But I'd love for y'all to introduce yourselves because we're going to be here throughout the day and are completely open to any questions that you might have coming out of the presentation. Lance is going to be on a panel a little later, so you might want to chat with him a little bit more, and we'll be around for some networking as well. So I've got a mic that we would love for you to speak into because we're being recorded. So if y'all don't mind coming up, just introducing yourselves, what you do for Target, and how you got started with the organization. Awesome. And again, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about social media. And I'll give you a little bit of background behind why I decided to share that with you today. Especially for me as an individual, I've been with Target for 11 years. I've been recruiting for Target for almost 5 years and have definitely seen a lot of shift over time. So I'm happy to share what I've seen with all of you to help you in your career searches as well. But I'm going to pass this around for intros.
Yeah, this is fantastic, Lokana. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, so I'm Lance Leafhead. I'm an Aggie, so I graduated Utah State. So yes, love it. You guys getting one of these guys? I only hire Aggies, so if y'all need a job, come find me. So I started with Target right after I graduated college here. It's something I never thought I would be doing. Graduated in finance and economics, and ended up in retail, but loved it. A lot of great experiences that I've had. Great opportunity to grow as a leader with Target. I've been with Target for 16 years, so started with them right out of college. I'm currently the district team leader, which is kind of a district manager. So I oversee 8 stores, which include northern Utah and Idaho. So I've got 3 stores starting in Centerville, Layton, Riverdale, and then 5 stores in Idaho. So Idaho Falls, Twin Falls, and then 3 in Boise. with that, I kind of oversee about $300 million worth of business and sales, and about, if you include all our team members, about 1,000 team members that work within our stores right there. So it's a great opportunity. What else do we want to know? That's it?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm good.
You did great.
Hey.
Hey guys, my name is Blake Andrus. I actually am an Aggie as well. As Lance said, he only hires Aggies, so here I am. So I actually, I did my bachelor's degree in international business, and then I just stayed on with the school and did the MHR program, as well as the MBA program in data analytics. So that last lecture was pretty interesting for me, at least. So, but yeah, I actually ran into Target here on campus, had a great interaction, and thought it was a great company in which to launch a career. It's an enormous company, so many paths, many things you can do. Since I have some background in HR, I'm actually working as an HR. It's an executive team lead of HR, I guess is the official name, HR representative for the Riverdale business. I love working with the team there, and I've been with Target since last June, so almost a year. So it's been great. Obviously, Target is a phenomenal company, and I highly recommend it for anybody looking for a great career path. So thank you.
All right. Awesome. Good morning, everybody. My name is Stephen DeYoung. I am a store team leader for Target, so I run the Layton Super Target. Work for Lance. He's my boss. So and I'm going to disappoint everybody here. I'm sorry I'm not an Aggie, so I'm like, I think I'm one of the few, so apologize. But hopefully you guys will be all right with that. But, so I've been with Target now for 17 years, started right out of high school, so I have a little bit of a different path. Was going to college for business and had no intention of getting into retail, never thought it was going to be for me, and fell in love with under a year, and have been with Target ever since. It's just, fell in love with the culture, the energy, the drive that's needed to kind of run a retail business, and just have done a number of different roles for Target before ending up out in Utah running the Target out here in Layton. So, all right.
Hey you guys, my name's Austin Haas. I am an Aggie, graduated in December. Love Logan, just finished in December, super excited to be with Target. I've been with the company, 2 years in June. I started as an intern, and that's one of the positions we're here recruiting for today. It's an amazing program where you have tons of very cool opportunities to be involved in really a high volume business. And so I was a human resources intern down in Target's Salt Lake City market. And now I'm a human resources executive team leader, same position as Blake at the West Valley City store. It's an amazing company to be a part of, and yeah, happy to be here.
Hey guys, RD Parsons. I'm a human resources business partner for Target, which means I cover Utah and Idaho, 17 stores in those two states, and deal with all things HR. So I deal with people's problems, and I love it. Couple things about me. So I've been with Target 12 years now, started in Colorado, was working for another retailer at the time. I'm actually a liberal arts degree, it wasn't Utah State, so sorry. But and really didn't think I'd end up in retail either. I think that's probably the common theme. No one plans on being in retail, and I would tell you that if you come to Target and you decide you don't like Target, don't go try to find any other retail, because don't waste your time. It's either for you or not. And Target, having been at other retailers, really knows how to do it right, and they make it a leadership experience. It's not just putting toilet paper on a shelf, right? So there's a big people component, which makes it really rewarding. So I hope we get to see you guys throughout the day.
All right, very cool. So again, we're going to be here throughout the day. Those are our leaders. Hopefully there's something maybe that you heard that you have in common, or even a question you might have. We're here for you. Feel free to reach out to us. But let's get started on social media and how to use it on your career search. So I'm actually going to quickly ask all of you, how many of you are currently looking for either an internship or a career after you graduate? And raise them high. Be proud. You're working hard. Love it. Very good. How many of you are balancing school with work? Okay. How many of you are just full-time students? Okay. How many of you do online classes plus in-person classes? Interesting mix, right? And for me, as a recruiter, what I've learned throughout the years is students have changed. We have a lot on our plates, more so than we had several years back. And so getting in front of you as an employer is different now. I can't expect to always get in front of students at career fairs because you might be at work, or you might be in a class, or you might not even be on campus that day. And so one of the ways that I like to stay in touch with students is through what we call social recruiting. And that is recruiting through social media. And the reason why I wanted to share that with all of you, because that is a great thing for any student to know that there's employers out there that are leveraging these tools to find you. So why not take advantage of that and start leveraging those tools to find employers, right? Let's turn the tables around. So I'm going to share today not information about how to make your LinkedIn profile or what to put on there, because I know that you have great resources here on campus that give you all of that information. I'm going to share some tips and tricks on how to leverage social media to make an impression on employers. So the first thing I wanted to share with everyone is let people know that you're looking. It was interesting because I was at CSU in Colorado a couple weeks ago and I was talking to students about Twitter, and a lot of them were shocked, and I'm curious if you're feeling the same way, because they just never thought about using Twitter in a career search, because for them Twitter's kind of still personal, like Facebook. How many of you feel like Twitter, whatever you put out there, is pretty comparable to the personal, not professional feel of Facebook for you? Just raise of hands. Okay. How many of you use it from a professional standpoint? Interesting. Okay, very good. So here's something really cool to know about how to use it. Let your friends and your followers know that you're looking for a job. And don't be afraid to be specific about what type of job you're looking for. There's a great example up here of someone that posted, I've updated my resume and I'm looking for a job in materials engineering or science public policy. And they put a link to their resume. You can put a link to your LinkedIn profile as well. But the reason why it's helpful to let people know that you're looking is that it's networking, right? It's getting your name out there and letting them know to keep their ears open. You're just expanding your search for this job. So if they hear something, they'll think of you because they know that you're looking and they'll let you know. Does that make sense? Perfect. Pretty simple. Don't be afraid to network on Facebook. I know Facebook is a personal space. As an employer, I personally don't go to Facebook to find students, but what I would encourage you to do is use Facebook to tap into your personal network because they know you. A lot of your friends on Facebook versus LinkedIn, they know you. You know them. They're friends, they're family, they're acquaintances. So don't make the mistake of overlooking this as a powerful tool to expand your network. Another thing that's really interesting with it is similar to the tweet that we saw, you can put that you're looking, you can get specific. It opens up the eyes and the ears out there in the network for you. But also these people have a stake in you because they personally know you, which ties it into they could even potentially refer you as someone who works for the company, and they know that the company's looking, they know you're looking, so I'm going to put you in as a referral. That carries a lot of weight. I can tell you we have a team member referral program at Target, and for me as a recruiter, I feel like it is my responsibility to follow up on every single referral that's submitted to me. So I get referrals from emails from executives that work for us that have friends or acquaintances that they feel like would be a good fit. In our job application system, we have a special icon that tells us about referrals, and I make it a point when I look at resumes, I always go to referrals first because that culture is really important to us. It's because the people that work for us know us best, and if they're referring someone that they know, they're telling us that I know this job and I know this person and I think it's a great match, which helps me a ton because that person has so much more insight into the role than what I would share with them. So don't overlook the Facebook and the power of referrals as well. Any questions so far? Any of this new? Or have some of you tried some of this already? Anybody try it? Anybody thinking about trying it now? Yeah, okay, good. Perfect. All right, so let's talk about Facebook and the personalization of it, right? Because you probably hear, I know it's out there, like, oh my gosh, some of my pictures or some of the things I post, I'm not intending for an external audience to see that doesn't know me. So don't forget, make your Facebook profile private But remember, there's a couple of things on Facebook that you cannot make private. What are they? Profile picture, your profile album, any of those pictures in that album. And what else? It's that banner in the back too, right? That's also a public picture. You can't make that private. So just be cautious if you make your profile private. Go ahead and audit those pictures, see what that is all about. Take out anything that you don't want people to see because they'll see that, okay? Very cool. How many of you have Googled yourselves? I'm just curious. How many of you, your Facebook stuff pops up first when you Google yourself? Okay. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. So impressing the hiring managers. So earlier we had our team come up here and introduce themselves. A lot of them are part of the hiring process, right? And so don't be afraid to look up a potential employer, especially if you know their name, and follow them on, or request them to connect on LinkedIn, follow them on Twitter, see what they're posting. I know Lance, for example, it's really cool to see his Twitter feed because a lot of it is about culture at Target. It's him out there with his teams, really celebrating and recognizing what his teams are doing. So, here's someone that's running a district that you get to see the culture of the company that he works for. There's a lot of other opportunities out there with different types of employers that you can get a glimpse into the same thing. So this really helps you get a different perspective because you want to diversify your resources as you choose an employer that you're going to invest your career in, right? The more resources you have, the more knowledge you have, the more opportunity you have to increase your investment, because that's what it is. When you agree to signing on with someone, you're investing your education and your time into that employer. You want to make sure you're getting that back. It also gives you a little bit more insight into that person as well, right? So you get to see who you potentially might be working for and what they're all about. And it helps you connect with them in the interview. Now that you know a little bit more, you might have something in common that you can talk about that might ease the nerves in the interview setting, right? All right, any questions? All right, hyperlink your resume. So it offers an employer another way to get in touch with you. I know we talked about in the beginning, you could do that for your LinkedIn profile, when you post it on Facebook or on Twitter. They can also see, as we were talking in the earlier presentation, about your technical skills, right? How you interact online. Shows that you're media savvy, and that is definitely a necessary skill in today's workforce. All right, so for Facebook, one of the things that I'll say about that is some of us might have employers that are friends on Facebook that maybe we want to post that we're looking, but we don't want them to know that we're looking. So what you can do, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, is you can create lists on Facebook. And you can, when you're posting something, you can tell Facebook which list you want to post to so that other people who are not in that list can't see it. And so if you haven't done that before, you can go to your account, friends, create a new list, and then you can put the people in that list that if you do want to post something just to them, you can select that in your post. Okay? All right. Creating connections. So I know we talked about following the hiring manager on Twitter. You can follow the recruiter on Twitter. They're on LinkedIn. You can connect with them. Set a goal for yourself of how many connections you want to make. I know the career fair is coming up. How many of you are planning on attending? Perfect. I'm going to give you a little trick, okay? So as you go around the career fair and you talk to employers, if there's an employer that you really felt connected to, an employer who made a great impression on you, ask them for their card. Make sure that the name on that card is tied to that employer. And as you're having the conversation and you walk away, write something down on that card that really stood out to you about your conversation, whether it be something you personally had in common with them, something they told you that really got you excited about their organization. And then what you do after that is the next day you get on LinkedIn, you look them up, you have their name, and you message them. Don't just connect without messaging, but message them and use what you wrote down to remind them about who you were, the discussion you had, let them know you're excited, let them know why you're excited. If you can tie it into something they said that really resonated with you, it's perfect. Short, sweet, but it makes an impression and it starts the connection. Does that make sense? How many of you are going to do that? Yes. Good. I love it. Okay. Very cool. All right. So now, getting to your LinkedIn connection goal. So I know we said find your hiring manager on LinkedIn. Find the person, the other tip that we had was find the person you met with at the career fair. Note that every career fair doesn't always have the hiring managers there, right? Sometimes it's people that are working in the actual jobs they're recruiting for. Sometimes it's people like myself that's the recruiter that recruits for those jobs. Sometimes you do get lucky and the hiring manager's there, but sometimes companies won't put the hiring manager at the career fair intentionally because they want to attract their talent, and maybe that hiring manager's not comfortable attracting talent, right? I'll assess talent, but don't put me out there and have me attract them. So just remember, even though you meet people at the career fair, don't stop there. There's so much more layers to it. So when you're talking at a career fair to employers, you can ask them, you know, hey, tell me, what do you do for this company? And then from there, you can say, oh, what does the process look like as far as who would I interview with? Write that down. It doesn't hurt to stay connected. If they don't want to get that in depth with you, that's okay. Just move on to a different topic to learn more about the job. Because career fairs, it's a high volume, high paced environment. So you really have to make the most out of the small amount of time that you have capturing their attention. Does that make sense? And plus the time that you have, right? Because a lot of you are probably going to squeeze that in between classes, squeeze it in between work. All right. So the next piece of it is once you are connected on LinkedIn with that individual, it also allows you a glimpse to see who else you share in common with that individual, right? So now you know, okay, oh my gosh, I didn't know that so-and-so knows this person I talked to at the career fair. So what you can do is you can now leverage that network piece of it to have them put in a word for you, right? Hey, how do you know O'Connor Reed? I saw that you guys are connected on LinkedIn. Well, great, I'm excited about a job for Target. What can you tell me about the process? Or how can you get me connected with her and share a little bit more about me? Leverage the network. That's what it's there for. That's especially what LinkedIn is there for. It's a professional network, and it's using it to its fullest capacity that'll just get you even further in your career search. And so the next thing is, you might already know people that you're connected with that don't necessarily have insight into the new people that you've added in, so there's no connection there. But you know who is probably connected? Career services. They're probably connected to the individuals that are at the career fair or at the jobs that you're looking for. I know that USU actually has a group page for career services that allows employers like myself to post jobs on that page. It allows me access. I think right now there's a couple, not really 2,000, I don't want to say. I want to say it's about like 1,700 connections on that group. So if you're not already connected to the USU Career Services group, get connected. That's another great resource if you don't have those natural connections within LinkedIn. Does that make sense? Cool. Any questions? Is this helpful? Some new stuff that we're going to do? How many people learned new stuff so far? Oh, y'all made my day. That's great. Okay, perfect. All right, I know we already talked about personalizing the request. I gave you the tip on how to do it with someone that you've actually physically met. How do you do it with somebody that you haven't met? How do you personalize a request with someone you didn't meet at a career fair? You don't even really know them, but they have something that you would love to capture from them. Anybody have a great example other than what's on the screen of something that they did that worked well when they reached out to someone on LinkedIn that got a response? Perfect, yeah.
So I've had a lot of success connecting with alumni who are working for companies that I'm interested in. And so I always mention that connection because it's an instant, something in common.
Yeah.
Relate with them. So that's been successful.
I love it. I mean, look at our team when they were introducing themselves as alumni. You all were clapping. But the ones that weren't alumni were like, yeah, I'm not gonna clap. But an instant connection, right? That's a perfect example. Any others? Yeah.
I guess it wasn't 100% through social media, but like at my work, we had a lot of corporate execs come by, and I found out that he's chief officer over the United States division. Anyways, he's an Aggie, I found out, and so because of that, I reached out to him on LinkedIn after we met, and because of that, he got me an internship at my job in the accounting department.
Oh, success. I love it. Very great example. Anybody else have something outside of alumni connections?
Hey, Lokana.
Yeah.
I'll just, something when people reach out to me to connect.
Yep.
I mean, there's the easy way of just hitting the connect button,
Yep.
get random invites from people, and honestly, I would probably accept those too, just to who's interested. But the genuine connection that you can make by adding that message, you know what I mean? Especially if you're someone that's a prospective, or you're looking at a prospective employer there, like add a little something to it other
Yep.
than just hitting the connect button.
Absolutely.
Something simple message as to why you want to connect, or I'm interested in Target, or I saw you at a career, like I might not remember you, and if you remember me, like bring that stuff up so that I understand why we're actually
Yep.
making that connection.
Yep. That's a great advice. Because when you think about it, those employers are talking to a lot of students, right? And I know we said you have a short amount of time to really make an impression. Make an impression and use that impression you made to remind them of who you are in that LinkedIn connection request. So here we have this individual that doesn't know Matt, but connected with Matt. And I don't know if you can read this, so I'll read it because I feel like it might be a little blurry, or it could be my eyes. I am aging. Feels like faster lately. So we've never met, but your profile came up when I was trying to find the best editors in personal finance. Oh, okay. Right? Caught my attention right away. Given you've been writing on the subject for 15 years, I was hoping we could connect. I'd love to learn more through your writing. What stands out to you about that?
They looked up the person like outside, like they knew that they'd been writing on this subject for 15 years. They weren't
Yep.
just like, oh, random person, hi, I want to connect. That they looked a little bit deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, they built Matthew up. They made Matthew feel good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you've been like great. You've been doing this for 15 years, and I want to learn from what you've done.
Okay. Yep, exactly. Very good points. One, they took the time to find out who Matthew is using social media. Two, they took what he was all about and they made him feel great. And they also explained what they wanted from the connection. I was hoping we could connect. I'd love to learn more through your writing. So Matt now knows that this individual is invested, and he also knows what this individual wants from this connection so that there's an action there. He left it with an action, right? All right. Going to the Google yourself. I know I asked earlier how many of you have Googled yourself. If you haven't done it in a while, do it again. Because there are hidden, what is it called, SEOs? Am I getting that right? Right? SEOs that are running all the time, and Google's changing codes all the time to refresh what pops up when you Google something. And so depending on how active you are on social media, what you Googled 3 months ago might not be the first thing that pops up this month when you Google yourself. But the reason why you do it is you want to see what is popping up, because employers are going to Google you. I guarantee you, especially recruiters that are going primarily through social media to recruit, and they're recruiting talent that already has jobs perhaps, and so they want to steal that talent for their organization. That's how they do it. They Google them, they find them on LinkedIn, and you want to know, as the receiving end of that, what are they seeing? And if you don't like what they're seeing, you need to fix it. And you need to make other websites more active so they generate first. You need to be more active on your LinkedIn profile. Post things that are important to you in a career search. There's a ton of articles that are posted every day on LinkedIn. RD does a really nice job of posting some pretty inspirational culture type of articles within an organization. And also, yeah, I'm totally so inspiration. You should probably post it right now on LinkedIn. And also another thing I love that you post leadership. I see a lot of those posts from our target teams, but you can grab that and repost that yourself if that means something to you. It's an opportunity for employers to understand what's important to you, but it also keeps your stream active so your LinkedIn bubbles up, right? Go in there and update it too. As you get involved on campus, change your profile up. If you get involved with clubs, organizations, add that on there. Really important to keep it relevant. All right. I know we talked about joining groups as well. I would start with the USU Career Services. Feel free to look out other groups too that are out there for employers. There's tons that are out there. Just know what type of group they are. They usually have a description, so you're not joining the wrong one. I've been guilty of that as well and have been called out on it as to why are you joining our group. So learn from my mistake. And again, I know we're running out of time, but these are the references on where I got some of this information. Feel free to take a moment to write this down if you want to dig in more, because this is just a glimpse of so much resources that are out there to help you in your career search through social media. But I know we have a minute left. Anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm gonna pulse you real quick. How many of you learned something new that you're gonna do? And be honest. You all don't have to raise your hand. Okay, it's okay. Okay, good. Oh, y'all made my day. Thanks for wrapping up my Friday on a good note. I love it. I'm glad I was able to help out. Thank you everyone for your time today.